Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very tribal looking design for you, and it's called the fish tribal design because, as my sister pointed out to me later on, it actually looks like a fish. I've classified this as an intermediate level design for two reasons. One, it actually has shapes in it which a beginner might find a little bit more difficult to pull off, namely the triangles, and secondly, I've incorporated shading into it which a beginner may or may not want to try out at this stage. Moving on to the actual design, and you can see right now that I'm drawing what looks like an arrow pointing to the left. The key to getting these shapes right is to play dot to dot. Put dots where you want the lines to connect, and then faintly draw out the lines, and then go over it with a thicker line. I know I told you to faintly draw out a line, but that isn't going to be possible with every type of henna paste. Right now I'm using Rajasthani henna powder, or at least a paste made from that powder, and this allows me to faintly draw out lines quite easily. But before this I was using a very poor quality henna powder which claimed to be of body art quality, but I personally don't think it was, and that made it pretty impossible to trace, or not trace, faintly draw out lines like I was here. I'm now going to draw out the rest of the design with faint lines, and the design at its core is built up of circles with overlapping triangles. And now I'm going to make the lines thick by using a method where I draw two thin lines and then I fill in the center to create one thick line. Next you're going to see me shade, and the technique that I'm going to use is one that I first saw Henna use, and actually I don't think I've seen any other henna artists use this after that, but I've decided to adopt it for this design. The basic point behind this technique is that you're going to put a dollop of henna inside the area that you want to shade, and then you're going to use a wet paintbrush to spread it around. Because we're actually trying to create a shade though from dark to light, you will have to go back in again with the henna and put a dollop of henna where you want the darkest part of the shade to be, and then you use your paintbrush to spread it out a bit more the way I'm doing on screen in order to help create your shading. For those of you who are familiar with watercolor painting, you've probably already used this technique before. Very importantly, I will mention that wherever you are putting the shading in, make sure that the henna surrounding that area is actually dry, because otherwise the moment you mix it with water, it's going to ruin the design. During this design I had a couple of moments where I completely lost focus, and I can't deny that the swirls right now are a little bit sloppy. When you're doing these swirls, try to make sure that you leave gaps in between because you're going to go back in with the henna. And here's what the design looks like so far. I personally don't like this design without the finger detail, so I would really hope you would continue to the end of this video. Once I'm done doing the finger designs, I'm actually going to incorporate what's known as two-tone henna into my design. This is where you create a lighter tone color henna next to a darker toned henna color, which would be the dark brown or dark orange color. And you do this by leaving on the henna paste that is supposed to create the lighter color for a lesser period of time than the henna that you leave on that's supposed to create the darker color. The method that I'm going to use to create the two-tone effect is by putting a dollop of henna within the area that I want to shade, and then I'm going to use a paintbrush with water on it to spread it around. And if I want the color to be darker, I'm just going to keep on adding dollops of henna in and spreading it around until I get it to the color that I want. When you're creating a blend this way, if it feels like it looks a bit lumpy, just add more water in and it will smooth it out. And finally, here is the end result. You could probably tell by now why I classified this as an intermediate design. And one more thing, you're probably wondering why my henna looks really shiny right now, and that's because I've dabbed on a solution of sugar and lemon on top of it, and that helps the henna stay on your skin for longer, which allows it to stain your skin for longer, which ultimately results in a much darker stain. Thank you for watching my video, and if you have any comments on how I can improve this video, or if you have any suggestions of what kind of videos you'd like to see me do in the future, then please leave a comment below. If you would like to see another one of my videos, then please click on the link available on the screen right now.